Probiotics are everywhere. Capsules, drinks, even snacks. But can they actually help rheumatoid arthritis? As a rheumatologist, I get this question all the time with different foods and supplements. And here's the truth. Probiotics sound great, but the studies in RA aren't exactly what you think. Stick with me and I'll show you what the researchers actually found and what might make even a bigger difference for your gut and your joints. And stay tuned, because later in this video, we're going to talk about a medication that you have heard about if you have rheumatoid arthritis. And we're going to talk about how your gut bacteria might actually influence how well this medication works for you. It makes sense on paper. Your gut is a big part of your immune system. So the idea is if you add probiotics, balance your gut, calm inflammation, your RA will get better. That's the promise. But when researchers actually tested this in rheumatoid arthritis patients, the results were not what people expected. The studies actually showed that several clinical trials looked at probiotics in rheumatoid arthritis. The results, there were tiny changes in the CRP, which is a marker of inflammation levels. But more importantly, patients did not feel very different. And when you put all the studies together, probiotics just didn't move the needle. That's why our RA guidelines don't recommend them. So if probiotics don't actually do much, what can actually help your gut and your joints? Instead of adding new bacteria, what if you fed the good bacteria already inside of you? That's what prebiotics do. They're simply fibers in everyday foods. Beans, oats, apples, onions, garlic, asparagus. Think of them as fertilizer for your gut garden. I know, it sounds a little funny, but they literally will help good things get better. When your gut bugs eat these fibers, they make compounds that help calm inflammation and may support your joints, because there is a relationship between your gut and how your joints are. More and more studies are coming out on that. And while these studies are small, there are more and more of them. Some of these small studies in RA show that diets that were higher in fiber improved stiffness, like stiffness in the joints, and it lowered some inflammation markers. And even outside of rheumatoid arthritis, because you are a human being otherwise, high fiber diets are linked to healthier immune function, which we all need. And I know for some people, it's so much easier to just pop a pill to feel better instead of really overhaul of the lifestyle. But don't think about it like that. The real question isn't what probiotic pill should I buy? It's what am I feeding my gut bugs today? And you do not have to overhaul everything. You can actually add little bits of this into whatever diet you're already doing. Here are some easy ways to sneak them into your day. For oats, add berries and a sprinkle of chia seeds for breakfast. Onions and garlic. Yes, they're tasty. You can saute them and add them in a base for your soup or stews or casseroles. Asparagus. Roast it in some olive oil and lemon, or just toss it in a pasta. Lentils and beans. Make a lentil soup. It's actually pretty easy to do. I have some recipes. You can make a bean chili or even a lentil salad. A regular salad that you eat all the time. You can add a sprinkle of lentils in there, a few teaspoons of it. It may not even change the taste very much, but you're getting some more prebiotic food, and it could maybe help you feel fuller for a while longer. Okay, and this is the fun part for you. When your gut bacteria eat these fibers, they're not just eating them and sitting there. They make compounds that can actually help lower inflammation. Remember that medication that I mentioned earlier that almost everyone who has rheumatoid arthritis is either on or has heard about or is maybe going to take in the future? It's called methotrexate, and it's our most common first-line treatment. Here's the fascinating part. Studies now show that your gut bacteria may help determine how well methotrexate works for you. And that just happens to be one of the more studied medications. I'm sure in the future they will look at other medications and gut bacteria. But for now, there have been studies that have come out with methotrexate. And these studies showed specifically for people that were newly diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, the ones who didn't really respond well to methotrexate had less diverse gut bacteria, or certain types of bacteria were missing. Some people even had microbes that could change how methotrexate was broken down in your body. Researchers have even built these models that uses your microbiome to predict how your response would be to treatment. This is not ready for everyday clinic yet, but it just shows how powerful the gut and the joint connection could be. And this is why when you hear people say, try 30 different foods, you want diversity, you could eat fruits and vegetables. If you ate only one or two the entire week, you're not gonna have that gut diversity that you want. And this is where the studies are coming out. Okay, here's an example. Let's say you are eating a lot of processed foods, you're eating out a lot of takeout, and you say, I love broccoli. That's the one thing I eat every single day. In fact, maybe I eat it 2 meals a day. So you're like, I am getting fiber, I'm getting nutrition, I'm getting nutrients from that broccoli. You are. You're feeding your microbes that one food, that particular food. What you want is a variety. So the more different types you eat in the week, that's better. And the more colorful those fruits and vegetables are, that's even taking it up a different notch. Let me explain this in the nerd corner. And if you don't want to hear me for the next 60 seconds, you can turn your ears off. But for those that do, just a quick think. When your gut bacteria eat fiber, they make something called short-chain fatty acids. Think of them as tiny peacekeepers. And these peacekeepers tell your immune system to just chill out, calm down. This helps balance the attack mode that drives rheumatoid arthritis. So your translation here is that fiber equals fuel for your body's natural peacekeepers. And this can help other conditions as well, which we'll get to in a sec. But here's the bottom line. Probiotics alone don't fix RA. I wish it was that easy. But prebiotics, fiber-rich foods, are safe, healthy, and may help your gut in a way that probiotics don't. Aim for about 30 grams of fiber per day. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less depending on the person and the other conditions, but it's a reasonable target for most people. That's a couple servings of beans, lentils, plenty of fruits and veggies, and throw in some whole grains. And if you enjoy fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, yogurt, that's a great add-on. You're hitting the gut from 2 different angles. Not just feeding the good guys, but you're actually increasing diversity, which we generally like to see with the gut microbiome. Okay, and it's not just rheumatoid arthritis that you're going to help, it's other conditions too, like type 2 diabetes, where you can improve blood sugar control, because the longer it takes to kind of digest your food, it helps with blood sugar regulation. Heart disease risk, it can help lower cholesterol, and even inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, because it can help support gut healing. But if you do have a gut-specific disease like one of those, then you want to talk to your gastroenterologist first to see how much fiber you should have, or any conditions that are related to the gut. So even if you don't see dramatic changes in your RA right away, you're still investing in your whole body health, because really that's what we want. We know the long-term outcomes for rheumatoid arthritis, and in the end, you are just a regular person, and you have a lot of other conditions that can happen as we get older. So if we can prevent those as well, even better. So instead of spending money on probiotic pills, spend it in the produce aisle. That's where the real power lies. There are more studies constantly coming out. If anything changes, we'll update here. Meanwhile, check out this video more on inflammation, food, and arthritis. And I'll see you next time at Plant Forward MD.